Welcome to the Man of Recaps. This is His Dark Materials, Episode 2. Lyra is in London, the big city, with her new best friend, Mrs. Coulter. She's got an awesome apartment. I kind of love the style of this show because I don't know what year it is. So life is looking good for Lyra, except of course her best friend Roger was gobbled up by the gobblers. He runs into the Egyptian kid Billy Costa, and yeah, we don't know why these kids are being held. Mrs. Coulter takes Lyra to the Arctic Institute, which has all the cool explorer northern stuff that Lyra's super into. It's like, hey girl, you could be just as cool as me, but you gotta let me mold you. So Lyra gets a sweet haircut and a pretty dress and stuff. Mrs. Coulter seems real nice, but also definitely seems a little creepy. Sometimes she just stares off into the bathtub and or says things like this.
I've never been sure about them. Heights. I could never get away from the occasional urge to jump.
And when Lyra mentions dust to show how smart she is, Mrs. Coulter tenses up pretty seriously. One night Lyra hears something moving around, so she follows the sound to Mrs. Coulter's study, where she finds her golden monkey demon all by himself. Yeah, Mrs. Coulter's down at the other end of the hallway. Apparently, it's not possible to be that far away from your demon. Mrs. Coulter plays it down though, like, no, I think you missaw things. More mysteries upon mysteries. Now the Egyptians have made it to London, hunting the gobblers, looking for their kids. They raid a building, but we're just too late. Looks like the kids were just moved. Ma Costa is still sad that her son's missing, and she cries. Now, sexy cool magisterium guy is scoping out Jordan College. His name's Lord Boreal, and he's got a epic snake demon. He's here to check out the head that Lord Asriel brought back last episode, see if it really is this Professor Grumman. He finds the most recent skull, which has a hole in its head, and he's like, no, I don't think this was him. So Lord Boreal goes to an abandoned greenhouse place where there's some weird rip in space-time that he steps on through. Yeah, we're traveling to other worlds. And the world he travels to looks a lot like ours. Apparently, he's a world traveler. He's got a car parked here with some old parking tickets and a cell phone ready to go. This means, by the way, that the Magisterium knows all about multiple worlds and, like, where the windows are. He meets up with some contact who he wants to track down Professor Grumman, assuming he's in this world now because he traveled through the one at the big North Pole. Another night, Magisterium dude pays a visit to Mrs. Coulter. His name's Father McFile, and he's all talking about the General Oblation Board that she's in charge of. He brings another creepy priest with him who's got a beetle demon. Gross. Lyra tries to eavesdrop at the door, and long story short, this sets off a big fight between them where Miss Coulter sicks her monkey on Pan. Yeah, I guess if your demon's all grabbed, it brings Lyra to the ground too. This is super awkward. It's kind of like child abuse, you know? Mrs. Coulter's not laying a hand on her herself, but her monkey's smacking Pan around. Lyra's all like, my uncle Lord Asriel will save me, and Mrs. Coulter drops the truth bomb on her. Lord Asriel's not her uncle, he's her father! What a deadbeat dad drops his kid off at a college to be raised as an orphan? No, there's definitely a lot more to the story, like how Mrs. Coulter knows he's her father anyway. Lyra turns to her golden compass, the alethiometer, for help, but she still has no idea how to use it. She's just like, hey Siri, what should I do? Although at the very end, while she's not looking, the hand starts to move. So the next day, when Mrs. Coulter leaves the house, Lyra goes a-snooping, climbing through the monkey vents to get into her locked study. Lyra finds out that Mrs. Coulter's in charge of the General Oblation Board, and they're doing something in the north. It's unclear exactly what it is, but clearly humans and demons, they're separating them or something. Later at Mrs. Coulter's party, some nice young woman pulls Lyra aside. Turns out she's a reporter, and she drops a truth bomb on Lyra. The General Oblation Board, Gob, they're the gobblers! Yeah, Mrs. Coulter, who promised she was gonna help Lyra find Roger, is the one who had him kidnapped. She's like, hey, don't worry, kids, you're going on an adventure. She has them write letters to their parents that she just instantly burns. I don't know what this reporter's plan was, investigating the Magisterium at a party full of high-ranking officials, but Snake Guy immediately kills her. And yeah, by the way, looks like if your demon dies, you dead. Lyra's a resourceful little kid though. She climbs on out the window and escapes. But that night, she runs into the creepy gobbler fox demon, and yeah, Lyra's gobbled up too.